Greetings. Welcome to the ELRC 7551 Module 5 Open Educational Resources and Open Learning/Open Pedagogy. Today's presentation is delivered by yours truly, Victoria Cooper, doctoral student at LSU. There are 5 key areas that will be my area of focus today. First, what are the defining features of open educational resources? Second, what are the instructional benefits of open educational resources? Third, what are the most widely recognized programs, platforms for open educational resources? Fourth, my state or workplace current open educational resources and implementation status. And then what is open pedagogy? So open educational resources or defining features include the following. So according to David Wiley, OER aren't always textbooks, aren't always online, and aren't always free. The definition of OER is centered solely on copyright. OER are teaching, learning, and research materials that are either in the public domain or licensed in a manner that provides everyone with free, perpetual permission to engage in the 5R activities, which are retain, revise, remix, reuse, and redistribute. Okay, so back to the 5R activities. Again, I mentioned they are retain, revise, remix, reuse, and redistribute. And so here's a snippet from one of the learning resources this week. And again, retain, you make, own, and keep a copy of the resource. So example, you download your own copy. Revise, you're able to edit, adapt, and modify your copy of the resource. For example, translate into another language. Remix, you get to combine your original or revised copy of the resource with other existing material to create something new. And then reuse, you're using your original, revised, or remixed copy of the resource publicly. So for example, on a website or in a presentation or in class. And then redistribute, you're sharing copies of your original, revised, or remixed copy of the resource with others. For example, you post a copy online or give one to a friend. There are many benefits to open educational resources, specifically instructional benefits. And so they include, according to OER Commons, open educational resources give educators the ability to adapt instructional resources to the individual needs of their students, to ensure that resources are up to date, and to ensure that cost is not a barrier to accessing high-quality standards aligned resources. And then some schools and educators rely on third-party online lesson plan sharing services and sites to manage instructional resources for their classrooms. So these tools offer an easy way to find and vet educational resources aligned to standards. So open educational resources, programs, and platforms. OER Commons is, again, a well-known public digital library. And so according to their website, the worldwide OER movement is rooted in the human right to access high-quality education. This shift in educational practice is not just about cost savings and easy access to openly licensed content. It's about participation and co-creation. So OER offers opportunities for a systemic change in teaching and learning content through engaging educators in new participatory processes and effective technologies for engaging and learning. This slide provides snippets of other examples of OER programs and platforms. Next, one of the things that we were asked about in this week's assignment was to talk about our state or workplace's current open educational resources and implementation status. And so just as this module was starting, I noticed that LSU is beginning to join, if they hadn't already, the OER bandwagon. And so the following snippet from Moodle is an announcement for the OER Advancement Fellowship. So this fellowship awards stipends to faculty who review or incorporate OER materials into their curricula. The goal of the fellowship is to increase awareness and usage of OER. And you'll also see snippets from other institutions within Louisiana that are also utilizing OERs. So we have Southern University, again, we have LSU, and, publicly or throughout the state. And so before I end, I want to talk a little bit about open pedagogy. Like, what is it? So according to David Wiley, the ultimate test of whether or not a particular approach or technique can rightly be called open pedagogy is it possible without the free access and for our permissions characteristic of open educational resources? And so if the answer is yes to that question, then you may have an effective educational practice, but you don't have an instance of open pedagogy. Open pedagogy is that set of teaching and learning practices only possible in the context of the free access and for our permissions characteristic of open educational resources. And that includes free to reuse, again, free to revise, we've talked about free to remix, and then free to redistribute. So on this slide, you'll see some suggestions from David Wiley for what teachers can do to demonstrate open pedagogy. In conclusion, open educational resources are either in the public domain or released under an open license. Students save money when faculty adopt OER, but we just don't know how much. So OER can improve learning for everyone only to the degree that they catalyze these changes in teaching and study practices. Thank you, and until next time, have a great one.